Hello everybody, my name is A-Space. Today we're going to be using a Harpy to do some just general high-sec PvE / Abyss. This is a pretty cool little ship I've made right here when it comes to its fitting, because it is quite expensive, but it also is very tight and gets a pretty boss tank. As you can see here, we've got 19k EHP and we're not relying on any capacitor to be able to get that HP. Like, we're not using any cap mod like active mods or anything like that, so we're just using purely passive modules right here. So 26 HP per second with a 19k EHP buffer. Absolutely crazy. So this actually is pretty decent at doing the T1 Exotic Abyss solo. I wouldn't take this into T2s. I feel like it'll get wrecked by T2s because of newts, because even though we're not using cap for our tank, we will probably get neutered out because we have not got the really good DPS, and if I get properly neutered out, then I won't be able to use my my weapon systems at all, because hybrid turrets actually do use some level of capacitor. Okay, but what I'm going to do first is to show you how effective this is at doing just general high-sec exploration, because it is actually quite cool how it's able to do like these kind of anomalies. You can just go and snipe them with the railguns, because the railguns are really nice. They have the really good range. They're like beams, but the thing is they have more range than beams, less DPS, and a bit worse tracking, I believe, as well. So they're actually really good because you could just go in stuff like hideaways and that kind of stuff. You have almost a perfect range with Antimatter just to snipe them straight away. But again, this is quite an expensive fit. It all was to be able to get this to fit. Like you see here, we use Shadow Serpentis, Federation Navy. CPU is so tight. I'm not using any implants here, but I have to also use the Dread Guristas 150mm railgun. Everything. Oh, some Rasna box over there. Need to be a bit careful. Don't want them to pop our 390mm ISK frig over here. We've got a compact afterburner because it didn't fit otherwise. We've got a Republic Fleet medium and a Wolf shield extender that has got very good fitting requirements. And look here, if we use the assault damage control, we get 70k HP, so it's absolutely crazy. But I mean, it doesn't really mean that much because we're anyway a passive tank. It's just going to make us not take damage for a few seconds and then that's it. It's not like we're going to have that 70k HP for a long time. Oh, here's some nice... There's some nice anomalies right here. All these anomalies right here can potentially escalate to a Guristas 4 out of 10. The hideaways, the refuges, they can all escalate to a 4 out of 10. I'm going to do the hideaways first because they're the easiest. And then after we've done these, we'll go and try to do some T1 Abyss because I've got some filaments packed up in here. So look here, this is just so good. You just go here, snipe these guys straight away. Boop! There we go. And what I can do here is actually group these into two groups. So then I have this here and this here. So that I have to just have two groups going on and then they just knock out these guys. There we go. So the antimatter is really good. Look at that range. 22km range with the antimatter. Some very decent range. And we'll see when we do the Abyss how it actually is a very nice experience. The main downside is that, I mean, we don't have the really good DPS, so battleship waves take a bit of time. Oh, look at how we get a Guristas scout outpost straight away. I might run that in the future, I'll see. I've not got a whole lot of time right now to be able to run this, but if I do get an opportunity, I might even take this Harpy out to run this Guristas scout outpost tomorrow, or tomorrow morning for me. We'll see if I get around to that. Alright, let's continue here. Take out these pithy guys. It's like really nice. The antimatter is in pretty much the optimal range for this type of hideaway. They're different types of hideaway. Sometimes they can be a little bit further, like a 30km, but we still will be able to hit a little bit. Got a fall off of 29. Okay, go. See this Harpy? It's like a bit of a golden color on it, so it looks quite dapper. Okay, we've got other people here maybe. They saw a refuge, it went away because I think we had 2 refuges in the scan. Now there's only 1 left. But we'll go for the hideaways because I find that they both have about the same probability of dropping the 4 out of 10s. Don't quote me on this, but I feel, it's a feeling that they have the same amount of probability to escalate to a 4 out of 10 as a refuge. So that's why I'm just going to do the hideaways first because they go down quicker. So we're able to do as many as possible before other people come and take the anomalies from us. Pop and pop. The good thing is that we're in a frigate, so we've got very fast lock time as well. So that's one really good thing about using these frigates for these low-level anomalies like we're doing right here. Lockety lock. Where is that 4 out of 10 even? Let's check where it is. Check. Where is it? Exploration, escalations, or unknown. We might do this. I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to do it, but we might do this in the future. Lob one of these guys here. That was really lucky. Like, oh, we've got Dread Guristas as well. Look, we get like a hideaway, then we get a Dread Guristas directly after each other. That was pretty sick right there. But the thing is, these guys hardly ever drop anything good. These the Dread Guristas spawns in the high sec anomalies. There's always in the null sec anomalies and low sec ones that they drop good stuff. Here it's just always really crap, just as you can see. We'll go to this refuge here, and then after this refuge we'll do some basic T1 Abyss. But that was so cool that you got 4 out of 10 like that. Usually I have to go on forever, and I don't get any 4 out of 10s. But here, just the first one, it is really like that sometimes. The RNG can really be very varied in EVE Online. Oh, look at there's a Caracal Navy issue over here. Has he just finished it? I think he may have just finished it. Yeah, he just finished it. Alright, let's do the Abyss. So we got the filaments right here. Use the Calm Abyss. Oh, there's a hideaway. New hideaway spawn. We'll warp to this hideaway instead quickly. Because the hideaway, they're done so quickly. You just pop them really fast. It's like the dice roll. And I've heard... Now, this is not like... I think that there was someone who did some spreadsheet on escalation probabilities. And they saw that the probability of getting an escalation was higher in 0.7 compared to other types of security statuses. They had received the most amount of escalations from 0.7 security statuses. Maybe it could just be that they ran more, but it seemed pretty cool how he had, like, it was quite a significant increase in the likelihood of getting an escalation 0.7. That's what I saw on a spreadsheet, but it was a long time ago. I don't have it handy, but if you Google something escalation probability Guristas space, you might find it. Some guy ran so many anomalies in different security statuses. What? Look at that. What did I say? Oh, never mind. It's in low sec, but still, I mean, you could always... It's like one jump away from high sec. Could you also do that? Maybe we might run 2 4 out of 10s if I do get around to doing them. But okay, it is time to do some Abyss now. We'll go and do some Abyss. 3 frigates. Go, go, go. Always have to be in a fleet. I'm already in a fleet. I came prepared. I often forget to go in a fleet when I go into these frigate Abyss sites. It's not something that I'm too accustomed to when I run a lot of easy cruiser ones. It's something you have to always remember. It takes a bit of time with that session time with it. It takes a bit of time to load. Charybdis Tyrannos. Super simple. We will go towards the cache, activate the MWD, no, the Afterburner. And I'm going to put a spike here because these guys are a little bit far away. So we're just going to start doing damage straight away because we've got the insane range with the spike. You can see here, we're starting to do damage straight away. It's hardly any damage though, so it's not the best, but it's something. Now I can use our Antimatter, go for the Antimatter, lock up the bioadaptive cache, and we'll get to work. There we go, shoot this. And we have good tracking because they're small weapons. Usually railguns are not known for having good tracking at all, but we're using small railguns, so they have pretty good tracking. Just generally speaking, small weapons will always be able to hit stuff. I mean, there are, like, when you come across the small rogue drone frigate waves, for example, you can have problems with like light beam lasers and railguns if they're going quite fast, but even then, you usually will be able to hit them if you just pull a little bit of range. Okay, we'll go towards the Charybdis Tyrannos over here. Start shooting him. And actually, the DPS difference between this and Javelin is very minute, very minute. You don't have to worry too much about using Javelin ammunition, the close range ammunition. The main reason you'd want to use the Javelin ammunition, this one right here, is if you need some better tracking, because it has a tiny bit more DPS than Antimatter, but it has a lot worse range, so let's keep that in mind. But one benefit is that it has better tracking than the Antimatter. So it's like the Gleam for the beams. It has better tracking, shorter range, and a tiny bit more DPS, but pretty much the same DPS as the other multi-frequency or standard faction ammunition type. We can even show you right here. Oh no, that was wrong ammo. We shouldn't have taken Spike. Spike is the uber long range bad tracking one. Okay, Javelin. You can see here 114 tracking. Before we had like 90, I think it was. But as you can see, also the range is pretty bad as well. But we're still in range, so we can just keep using this because Guristas is in range. And also, perhaps the tracking will help us indirectly get some better shots, making us, like, getting these penetrating shots and that kind of stuff. But still, we're pretty much getting perfect tracking anyway, so I don't think it's going to make at all much of a difference compared to Antimatter. Okay, where's the transfer coordinate? How far is it away? 13 kilometers. The Guristas Tyrannos in T1 Abyss is extremely weak. It dies very quickly and does hardly any damage. It's like the Rogue Drone Battlecruisers, I would say, are more deadly in T1 Abyss than these guys, actually, than the Guristas Tyrannos in T1 Abyss, because it's just so weak. It's nerfed to multiple degrees because there's like a damage multiplier on it, and it's like increases by like 50% or so. I think the damage multiplier in T1 Abyss is like 1, and then in T2 is like 1.5, and then in T3 is like 2.0, something like that. Like, it increases by each tier of level of Abyss. You'll have the Guristas Tyrannos doing more damage, along with it doing also, or having more tank as well. So it'll take a longer time to kill it. Let's see, I will go for Antimatter directly. Caldari Navy Antimatter, go in range. Now here might be a good opportunity of using Javelin. We'll see how well we track, but it will very likely be favorable for us to use the Javelin ammunition type here. We'll go for this extraction, not the extraction, no, this competitive cache over here. You can see here glancing offshot. So we'll use the Javelin ammunition type to get some better tracking, because these guys are anyway orbiting us really close. So it'll just be overall better to use this. And you can see here 190 DPS, like pretty much the exact same, right? Like 180 DPS. Shoot this guy here. Even getting glances off shots because they're pretty fast. These rogue drones, small and fast, is not a good combination for low tracking weaponry. And as you can see, our tank is not getting challenged at all. We've got just the biggest boss amount of tank. And something that's really good about us having a big buffer like we've got now is that if some smug guy wants to gank us, because there are people who actually gank T1 Abyss runners in frigates, because as you can see, I'm using a pretty blingy ship. There are some people who are using blingy ships who are not in a big buffer like me, so that you could easily get a couple of 100 million by investing in a cheap course to gank some guy. Like maybe they're running a Hawk with some, Caldari Navy ballistic control systems, for example. A cheap coercer could gank it pretty easily because of its EM hull, and then you would just get some ISK from there just by robbing the guy. But here we're going to be going in with the massive buffer, and if we really wanted to, the 70k EHP buffer with the assault damage control. So we'll absolutely slam dunk some gankers who try to get smug and try to get a cheeky kill on us. Okay, let's see. Now we'll go for some antimatter over here. Get to the buy combinative cache. Start shooting. There we go. Get some penetrating shots that are pretty significant. You can see the color scheme of the Hawk. Not the Hawk. The Harpy. I apologize if I've said Hawk. I mix up the ships because I don't use this ship a whole lot. The Harpy's color scheme matches very well the exotic Abyss, actually. See, it's like greenish tintish over the background. I feel like it matches it a lot. And we can go for Javelin here because they are wanting to get very close. They are pretty small. They're also pretty fast. We do one pop here. And a pop here. There we go. Come on, loot, please. I don't like it when it does that. That is quite frustrating when I just bounce off. It happens just way too many times for convenience sakes to have me bump off these caches. Pop this Vila Damovic over here. The weaker variant of Triglavians. But an interesting thing is that you will see only 2 Vila Damovics usually in the T1 Abyss at least. But you will see 3 normal Damovics. But I find that the standard Damovics are actually more powerful in terms of their raw DPS. But one thing is that these drones apply a lot better. So you can't really kite these guys the same way you can kite normal Damovics. So there we go. Did a quick T1 Exotic Abyss. One of the waves that I've used this before in T1 Exotic. And it is the Devotion Night Wave can be quite deadly. But how I tackled it is actually by getting him close, because even though the Devoted Knight, the Sancho Cruiser, has pretty good tracking, if you orbit, say, I don't know, 10 kilometers maybe, then it will hardly hit you at all, just get grazing shots, so it'll be alright. And then along with that, it also newts, so it's good to keep a slight distance, not orbit at 500, because if you orbit at 500, he'll newt you out to the point where you won't be able to even shoot your guns, and that can be problematic, because you want to obviously be able to shoot him. That happened when I once, so it was really orbiting, but not orbiting too close. That is what the key to the Devoted Knight wave was. But otherwise, I really like this thing right here. It's not that effective. There's much more effective options out there, like a Retribution, Hawk, even a Vengeance, I would say, would be better than this. But still, it's fun knowing that you're cruising around with 19k HP buffer, so that if someone decides to gank you, you'll be just sitting there like an absolute brick, taking all the shots. And if you really want, activate the assault damage control and walk around with 70k EHP. So overall, I just think it's just fun knowing that you've got these kind of stats. Maybe not worth it, but fun nonetheless. So that was a bit of quick high-sec combat exploration. Managed to get 2 DED sites within just like 5 minutes, and did also some basic T1 Abyss as well that is pretty smooth. You just go straight through really. You've got so good tank. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.